Hi guys, Crafty Crystal here. This is what we're working on in part 2 of Hat How-Tos. We took it from the last part where we learned how to do the basic put together structure, and now we're going to finalize that structure so it'll be ready to add our color onto. What you're going to learn on this one is how to finalize your edges, your inside, your crown, your thin out your edges, add any bills or back you want to put on it. Okay, let's get started. This is the inside. When this was on the outside, I did too much here, and now look. So I'm going to batten these down, and then we're going to come back and work on the edges. Okay, one last thing before we leave the subject. When you're doing that corner, you can feel on the outside that it has a substance now. It has structure. I'm going around here. I can feel the hardness of the structure. And right here, it's going in. Can you see that? It's not doing it here. It's doing it when I rub down here. But right there, can you see where it's going in? That means it has to be done more. So you feel all around your edge, and you look at it and feel it from the inside, and when you find a spot that goes in more and doesn't feel as solid, you go back and do that until you're done. And then your inside outside is finalized as far as nice and stiff, thick, easy to work with, and we can start our edge. I know I keep saying that, but next time we're going to start our edge. Okay, now that we've done all the hard work, we have a little bit of work left to do, and then we're done. Now I put this back on, right side out, and what you want to do when you put it back on is make sure your sides are even, so you didn't put it on cockeyed. Now, on the average, about 3.5 inches down is where the average hat is going to be. So if you want it a little lower, now's the time to add on to make it lower. And if you want to just leave it at the cap, that's where you leave it at the cap size. And now you decide if you want a bill. Now you don't have to have a bill, it can just be a cap without any bill, but we got to show you how to do that. Now, to put a bill on, now this is where the edge of the cap is. If you want, my cat just turned the film off. Okay, now you decide the length of your bill, and you can do it like this. You can say, okay, I want the bill to sit out about yay far. Oh no, not that far. How about that far? Okay, so you decide the length you want your bill. Now here's your edge. Put this on here. And you are going to have it about the halfway mark. Now what if it wasn't? What if you decided that you're going to have it that long and you want it just this long? It's not the halfway mark. You take and you fold it right where you want it, and you double check. Then how far out you want the bill? Okay. I'm going to tack this front. I got this bent where I want it. Double check. Okay. That's a fairly good sized bill. It's not a big old huge baseball cap bill. Pretty good size. Okay. So then you turn it over. You don't need all this up inside. You don't need all of that. So we're going to take this here. This is where just about where it ends on the outside. I'm going to take these. I'll leave you in there. I'm going to take a strip and another small strip. I'm going to bring them right out to the edge. So you want a good strong edge. We got a little hole here. And a weak spot over here. Let me fold this back over like that. And it should come back up to the edge, your long fluffy edge here. Take your fingers and see if it feels like it's about even in density. Now back to what we're doing here. So that feels pretty good. I'm going to come back over here one more time. That bill looks like bigger than I wanted. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to adjust it in just a little bit. Little goes a long way. Give it a quick tack. Feel for the density. If you feel any holes in it, now's the best time to fill them on the inside. Now I'm going to come back over one more time. Pretty good. Then you can take and try it on and see, try it on you and see if that's where you want it at. Okay. Now, I'm happy with the density. I'm happy with the size. I'm going to give it a good tacking together. And it's not on the form. I don't have to worry about it sticking to the form, so I'm just going to beat it up. Pay extra attention to inside where it connects. You have this light fluffiness because you just tore it off. You don't have a straight line. So you should be able to make that disappear into that pretty easily. Left to right, right to left, up, down, back and forth. Okay, now come back out here. We want to shape the brim. Made that too thin, darn it. Okay, now I want it to go from here to here. Okay. You don't need to do it in one fell swoop. We're going to just kind of sneak up on it. Look at that. Got a fold there that's bugging me, but it'll get rid of it. Okay. I'm going to lightly tack these guys in. The loose ends. I have my bill a little rounder there. This is just pretty much playing with what you want until you've got it exactly where you want it. Now I could, if I wanted to, make this come out to a square point, like that. I don't think that's what I want. So let's see now, I've got an angle there, I want an angle about like that, so this is going to be my end. I'll pull these out fluffy. Turn them under. Turn them under. Is that what I want? Looks pretty good. Okay. Over here, get all the ends smoothed in. Pretty close to what you want before you put your color on. Okay. Now it's time to put it on again and see if that's what you want. Because if you want it shorter, that was the best time to do it. This is going to be a pretty good sized bill. Okay. Then you decide how low you want the sides. Now if you want them to come up high, like above your ears, they're going to be up here. If you want them to come down a little lower, like for a winter hat, so it kind of covers over your ears a little bit, then you can keep it down here. I'm going to make this a little lower, so it'll be a warmer hat for the winter. So what I'm going to do with these, boop, so I'm going to take and I'm going to lightly fold these in, just the feathery ends, and I'm going to lightly tack them. You just want to lightly tack them because it's going to be uneven at first, and you want to see what unevenness you're working with. Okay, I'm going to do a light tack in here. Now if you want a wider brim, if you want a shorter brim, if you want the brim to go all the way around the hat, you do the same thing. Make sure that the sides are the same height. I might leave the back a little bit longer, but not much. This is supposed to be a winter hat. Okay. And you keep trying it on, feeling what it looks like, where you want it. You know, if you do this at your desk, you can use your video camera to see how it looks on you. It beats jumping up and going in the bathroom and looking in the mirror, or getting a big mirror out and setting it on your desk that you can look through. Now all I've done here is fold in the rough edges. Get down there. Okay, now let's assume that I put this on and I'm reasonably happy with it. Now I'm going to put this back on here. And I can get a good look at the edge. I can see everywhere I need to retuck it. And oddly enough, got it higher in the back. Okay. Yes, I can live with that. Okay. So I want it about the same all the way around. You can do it with a measuring tape, or you can eyeball it. Get it as even as you can. And tack it down really good. We're going to take this off and beat the crap out of it before we put the color on. Right now you're establishing where you want your bottom at. And this is a longer hat. Yours is going to look a lot shorter if you don't want it to hang down. I'm making winter hats, so you adjust the size accordingly. You might want a little cap that sits on top of your head, like one of those little like a little guy in the old Philip Morris commercials. Had a little cap on the top of his head. You might want to do that and then add like a net or something around it. Make it come down, look pretty. Okay. You really want to get this right before you beat it down real good. Okay, so I'm going to put this up in there. Okay, both sides, make sure I'm not making one side lower. This is just the fussy bits where you make it the way you want it and make sure it's the size you want, the height you want. Okay, do make sure it doesn't feel too thick, because you've got to really tamp this down. Now, I want to show you a trick. See this ripply end here? You're going to come down and you're going to, let's see, best way is to put it on the table. If I do that, you won't be able to see it. So I'm going to roll this down so this is like almost on the table. Okay? And see how it sticks out? I'm going to take this and I'm going to start putting it into itself. It's a good idea to do this before you do the real super final heavy duty stuff, because once it's really compacted, this is going to be a lot harder to do. See how it tucks right down into itself? See there? Now it's not sticking out anymore. You turn the hat to the next part, to the table, where you can see it sticking out. And you work it down into itself until that ruffle part disappears. This is really hard to do so you can see it and I can see it. Okay, so here it's ruffling. Okay, and this is part is on the table. This is the table, so this is on the table, so you hold it where you can see the ruffle and you work with your needle down into that. Straight down into the ruffle. I mean straight sideways into the ruffle. And you do that until there's no more ruffle. The ruffle is gone. See there? Now what happened to that big old ruffle out area we had? It's gone. I have this one area here that's still a little ruffly. I'm just going to put it back into itself. This is a little low, so I'm going to put that back up into itself. And this part here I want to strengthen, because this is where your bill comes out and you don't want it floppy. You want it nice and strong. Okay, so we got rid of the ruffle. We got our bill shaped. Now this is a part that you don't want to skip. Honest, trust me on this. You want to go inside and you want to pound this down, no matter how long it takes, until it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. 3/16 tops. You don't want it anywhere close to 1/4 inch, because you have to put 2 layers of color on this, one on the inside and one on the out. Right now all I'm doing is packing down my feathered ends. Now see how thick this edge is? This is going to be a lot thicker once you put the color on it. So you want this as thin and as tight as you can get it. All the way around. See, this is thin, how thin this is here and how thick this is here. You want to make it nice and thin like that. And you work on this good all the way around, and when you come to the bill, since we haven't finalized it at all, you start from the inside where it's finalized and work out, and then work out in, and then back and forth, slantwise. You want your bill good and firm and solid like the rest of it, because you can feel this where it's supporting itself. You want your bill that firm, okay? So you take care of that, and I'll be back. Here's the edge before I thin it down, and here's the edge after I thin it down. Big difference. This is about what your edge is going to be, a little bit bigger than that even, when you have your color on both sides. So you need to start with something thin like this. So beat it down until you get it good and thin like that. Whoops. Okay. My rim is thin all the way around. I've finalized my bill inside and out. Check for any weak spots, any holes. You can hold it up to the light and see if there's any really, really thin spots, unusually thin. Like, if you see a really thin spot, you want to take care of it, okay? Usually I hold it up to the light. Again, use your fingers. This is the time before you start color that you want to check for lumps that need to be smoothed out, thin spots that need to be filled in, anything that needs to be finalized. I've got a thicker spot over here I just noticed. Use your single pointer to thin down thick spots, and it's the best tool to use for the very edge of your hat when you're trying to trim it down too. Excuse me. Okay. Now the next step, after you've checked everything out, made sure your edge is thin, made sure everything is finalized, now we can add color. So part 3 will be color.